Okay guys, a few key things I wanted to show you on this bike right here that people have talked about on the forums and and I'm going to show you a few things. Okay guys, if you look right in here, this all right here is to help the emissions. That way it can be legal in a lot of states, and it's supposedly supposed to pump air back into the box or from the box into the head. I don't know. Either way, it's just a bunch of unnecessary stuff, according to those in the know. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to go ahead and delete this. We're going to delete all this extra weight. That's not much, but it is something. It's all going to go away. It goes all the way back to the air box. And what we may do is I'll either use the base of this plate to make a pattern with my drill press and a piece of plate steel I've got laying around. Maybe even some of that junk. Yeah, just kind of keep it a part of the bike. And we'll just plate this off and delete all of that. Another thing is people have wondered about this carburation system here. Well, I can't really see. I haven't got under there yet. But they're saying that these screws here, they're fixed. I don't know. I'd have to take it off. Really hard to tell. There's something going on in there. We'll get into that. If it becomes too much trouble, we'll just... I plan on rejetting after I open up the exhaust. I personally am going to try to remove this, and I'm going to open up the cat and remove the cat. I prefer to just kind of leave the stock curves and stuff. You know, I think once it's open, at least from here on back, I think that just leave it alone, you know? I mean, it's not going to take much. I like messing with this stuff. Might as well just cut into it and keep this, at least the header part, all the way back. I might try to open that up. Well, I will try to open that up. That's like a no-brainer. And if I run into problems there, I may just replace this back piece here. That's simple enough. Another problem is here. Okay, so I don't know, but we will find out. There on the intake box, the air box, I know on the Hawks that they've been doing modifications to open it up to bring in more air. Doesn't show a significant, if any, increase, but more air is better than no air. We'll bust into this box here and see if we can do the same modification and answer that for the storm fans. If not, we'll just go with, you know, an aftermarket air filter and just strap it on the back of that carb and or the front, whatever you want to call it, and go after it. But that's just a few key notes I wanted to add. I'm thinking about something else here. We're looking at these these blinkers. My bad. They have they're pretty fugly. I mean, they kind of look like bug eyes or something. I'm going to look in and find out if an LED bulb in there is what the cost of it to replace the LED bulb, replace it with a LED bulb, because it's not that expensive to get some cooler looking turn signals. They're kind of pointed. A lot of people have done them. You can see a lot of them on the site, but you know, it's just like one screw and a couple clips. There's the screw hole. We'll price the LED replacement bulbs and see if it's... I personally don't really care. I mean, I don't really like the looks, but I could live with it. I don't really care. But we'll see which is more affordable, and we'll let you know. Okay guys, if you look, you can't really see too well, but I have rigged up my garage door opener and put some eye bolts through it, and then use some bike straps or tie downs, and through the strength of my huge little 4'10" foot wife and me, we were able to get it up in the air so I could put the front tire on. Squeaking's my tripod, sorry about that. just an idea, and I put it on a toolbox that doubles as a stool, doubles as a bike stand, so triples, I guess. But that's what I got going, so we'll go ahead and get the front tire on, or at least look at it and see what we can get going with it. I haven't really looked at it yet. We'll find out. Okay, so here we are. Got the front tire on finally. Not really finally, it didn't take much. But I went to this fabulous motorcycle parts list. What a waste. I mean, you see pictures, it's all in Japanese. I mean, Chinese, my bad. Operational instruction. Not so good. I mean, there are some pictures of your setup, so I mean, that may help a little. But there's really no instructions to tell you how to install it. Like this one right here, there's no washer on the side of this main bolt going through the hub. And I was wondering, you know, hey, there's got to be a washer. I'm going to go through that little box, that little bag of gifts. But I want to say, if you're going to work on a Chinese box, you need to have Chinese tools. That's why I went to Harbor Freight and picked all these up. That way I feel like I'll kind of stay in the whole Chinese mood. No, actually, I like these tools. There's some really good tools here for the money. I've actually been shocked at how well some of these tools are. I wanted to pick some up so I could damage. I have teenage boys, which means I lose all kinds of tools. And Harbor Freight actually makes that a little bit easier to swallow when you can let your boys actually walk off with your tools, and it's not as devastating. Some weird reason, this front bolt, this has got to be a 19. It's reading that this should be like an 18. I don't have an 18. I go from 17 to 19. So, I mean, doubtful it's American, but if somebody's got an 18 millimeter socket, please let me know. I'd love to have it. Probably be done by the time that you get back to me. But so we're gonna have to trust the old crescent wrench. You know, people say maybe you should torque this down. You know, it has the spacers. We make sure that you get a free roll that goes between the bearing. I've got Loctite on it. I should be good. I'm just going to do pretty good torque myself. Okay, now we got, like I was saying earlier, the brake. The brake is really nice. I don't know if you can see this, but there is actually a little piece of plastic here, a little spacer that is spacing and holding the brake pads in place. Absolutely brilliant idea. That way I can just actually set the pad at the base, and it should slide right over, and I should be able to pull that out, which I can. Now all I got to do is pull that piece out and mount my bolts. Problem? Which bolts? And of course Loctite. So here we go. Magical bag of bolts. What we'll do is, oh, and I did go ahead and pick up some extra spark plugs. You know, these ones here, forget what size they are. 2120 DAEA NGK. Love NGK. Ran them in all my other dirt bikes previously, back in the old days. I like a name that sticks around. It's always a good sign. But we'll get on to this, and we'll let this run through, and you can watch me make my mistakes, and hope you enjoy it. I wonder if it's putting a vine. Oh, I see it. You know that bolt that I was telling you about? This one's too long. So we'll just take it out and we'll go with a shorter one. It's got to be shorter than that one. And there she be. No, yeah. There she is, just a tad shorter. Actually, shouldn't have put that much, but whatever. Right? My bike. My walk type. I can waste as much of it as I wish. Cluster here. It's been kind of a cluster, you know what? But there's actually 2 bolts here. Those obviously go in there, and they probably have a nut and washer. No problem. There are 2 little posts or pegs off of that. And if you look here on my ignition, I have 2. They look like they go just right up there perfectly. Get a better view. Boom, boom, boom. So that'll go there, and then this will go here. Boom. Okay, so if you're wondering, this needs to go. I mean, I'll start with it, but I plan on rewiring in the digital one. You know, I haven't really looked, but I don't think there's actually on this bike. The downside to this bike, yeah, you get the counterbalance motor. It's supposed to be a tad bit shorter because they're all a little high. But this one, I don't think it has a gas gauge. I think you have to go old school on it and just slosh the tank around. Obviously, this has no way to read the gas. No dummy light. You got neutral. You've actually got, you know, your headlight of obviously left, right, signal, lights, running lights, neutral, so you can kill the thing. This is what stinks. Miles per hour are these little bitty ones in the middle here, and kilometers are obviously on the top. But from everybody's posts and stuff like that, you know, your total miles are there. This is off completely. Oh, that's my trip. Oh wow, I have a little trip. I was like, that isn't enough numbers. Here's our total miles in kilometers, and you do have a trip. Okay, so you know, no gas gauge, but a trip. So that's the one thing I haven't been really super excited about this bike. Awesome bike. If they would have just done something better for this right here, that would be awesome. Not a deal breaker by any means. It's a fun bike. I'm sure we'll find out. But I mean, for what I've got in it, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay guys, so let me show you what we have here. Went ahead and took the side panel off over here at the bike just to kind of give you an idea what we're looking at. Okay, if you look right here, this bolt right here is the one that held the side panel on. Got both of them off. And this is stuff I love. See, I've got this. I'm guessing that goes together. And then I have a red, that'll go to the battery post, obviously. And I have a black that goes to the battery post. But, you know, with a book that doesn't say a whole lot, stuff like this really is entertaining to find. I mean, you know the basics. This battery right here, if I do the LED upgrades, a lot of people are saying I may want to go to a bigger battery. Batteries, you know, $35 to $65, you know, depending on what you get and this and that. I may do that. We're going to mess around with the bike first and see what we come up with. But I'm going to go ahead and get this out, and I'll show you how we get the acid in it, and we'll get her charging.